And then ZA was at the height of it, Kenny Kunene, MMC in Johannesburg, as well as the Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture, Minister Gaten McKenzie. They used to run ZA. This is the first place I saw people popping champagne. I mean, you all know that, when there were ladies lying down and sushi was on them. That's when things started shifting, and ladies wanted moe, moot, that's what the French says we must say, moot, veuve clicquot, as well, and the ladies were popping it, and everybody was about the most expensive champagne and designer bags as well, and Diamond Walk became a thing. Boys and girls from Polokwane and Witbank, with the tenders for building stadiums and constructions on the road, were spending the money there. It's South Africa. I mean, I've been here. I was observing the stuff. So. Okay. Good morning. Balisa's trying to do my face. Not to do too much, but it's just little cover, ne? Yes. Like literally little cover. And then that's it. Yeah, little cover, like little cover, like little. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. So all right, welcome to the show. Welcome to Penny On, the podcast. Thank you, Palisa. That makeup of yours is cold.
It's the foundation.
It's the foundation is cold. Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Penny On, right here on YouTube. This is my podcast. I am shooting today for the first time at my new home, which I'm also asking you guys to rally behind us and support us and make sure that this creative hub lives and continues to do the work that it does for young people, not just of Gauteng or Johannesburg, because Johannesburg and Gauteng is a cultural melting pot. Young people come from different parts of the province, the city of Johannesburg first, the province of Gauteng, to Gauteng, Johannesburg, to pursue their dreams in the Golden City. The Golden Economy, which is the creative arts, is one of the most, how do I put it, accommodating industries. Some say it might have a low entry, but the skill set that is required is a lot, because it takes character for you to make it and survive. So I'm at Amped Studios in Newtown Junction, and we actually are faced with a little bit of a challenge to keep this place running. So if you can follow M Studios on all their social media platforms for you to be able to understand what the requirement is to make sure that this place stays alive. Some of your favorite podcasters have gone through these doors and they've recorded their amazing podcasts, and we want this place to outlive those podcast stars, but to discover and find new podcasters. I have been here a couple of times, obviously, to come share my experience and my expertise and conversations. I've been here with the Gauteng Department of Arts and Culture, Moshito, talking to young people about making it in the music industry, from how you prepare yourself for radio, interviews. They help young creatives with workshops, master classes. So it's definitely a hub that needs to live, and that needs to outlive superstars who come out of here. So I believe in spaces that are of development, and that is why I am here. If you've seen my last 3 episodes, I recorded them at a different place. I recorded them at Viva Nation, and it's the home of Arena. Viva Nation is owned by Arena Holdings. It's also the home of Gallo Records and the likes of the Black Coffee Foundation. Black Coffee works closely with Arena Holdings as well. The Sowetan newspapers is published by Arena Holdings. So I like working in spaces where creatives come together and they do creative work, from writing to fashion to music. I mean, Gallo Records is definitely one of the they have the biggest catalog on the continent of some of our favorite. If you've seen my previous podcast, you see Black Mambazo in the background. They had signed them, Ladysmith Black Mambazo. Lucky Dube, just to mention but a few of the greats who've worked with Gala Records. So today, I'm at M Studios, and this is Penny On. Do the right thing, subscribe. We want you to be part of this movement, this conversations that we're going to be having. I'm getting my face done with Palisa. She always does my face, well, every now and again. And Palisa and I always fight about don't do too much. So I just want to be able to function under the lights. So this episode that's coming from AMP, the first one, is to really just give you an insight of the new level of how things are going to go with the show. We're still about connecting cultures. We're still about Pan-Africanism. The previous episode with Musito really talks to a man who is South African, who has ambitions to make it globally, who's lived in London, who's lived in New York, who continues to do amazing work. Please do check it out. And we're going to be talking to a lot more people like that who are on in the diaspora. These are Africans who are making impact globally from different parts of the world. Doesn't matter where they are. You realize and appreciate that you're an African when you leave the continent, because whether you're in the US, whether you're in Europe, they want the essence of you being an African. You realize that you're no longer just a South African. You gotta have context and understanding of what the continent is all about. So Penny On is really about that. It's about that and so much more. So this cozy little space or little studio that we've created is a celebration of some of my favorite things and my favorite people. When the camera pans, you will see, like behind me, there's like shoes. I love shoes. The sunglasses, and these sunglasses are all South African brands. I know you guys like all these European brands. I prefer South African brands and African brands. Bags. Koki Kamala is one of my favorite African luxury brands. She makes bags. She's originally from Botswana, lives in Kenya and Bali, manufactures in India, Kenya, and Bali. It's about artisanship and craftsmanship, and those are the kind of things and people that I will be having conversations with when I talk creativity. If I'm talking fashion, I'm going to talk the business of fashion. And those who followed my career for a long time, I used to have a feature called The Business of Fashion when I was on Metro FM on the Ultimate Midday Experience. I don't reinvent. I just elevate the stuff that I've been doing. Sometimes people say to me, oh, you were so ahead of your times. No, I've always been present. So I keep doing the things that I've been doing. So those who know, I did Elegance on SABC1, which was about fashion and culture. We would go into the African continent, talk about food, music, street culture, fashion. Some of the designers that you celebrate today were young designers that were featured on Elegance. I worked with Dion Chang, who is a trend analyst, who was part of Elle magazine at the time, and some of the greats like Adam Levine, John Burkle, who was a stylist, Philippe Mazibugo. So when I say I've worked with the greats, I literally mean that. Faith Sue, makeup artist extraordinary. I mean, so when I say the standard of makeup, I'm talking Faith Sue and Pat McGrath. If you don't know who Pat McGrath is and you're a makeup artist, sorry for you, you're not serious. So those are the kind of stuff that I'm going to be talking, from you starting out in development to how great you can become in the world. That's what Penny On is all about. You really got to be on in whatever you do. So I have been on from day one when I walked into Voice of Soweto in Fox Street to pursue my radio career. Actually, that was not the first time I walked into a studio. Let me correct myself. To Soweto Community Radio, which is known as Josie FM now, in Dube. Went to go do my radio training. They showed me this is the on button. And this is how it's going to work. And I had not even written my matric at the time. And I focused on my matric after a few weekends of training. Then the first radio job I got was at Voice of Soweto as a volunteer. It was on Fox Street, a block away from the Carlton Center. And I went on a Saturday morning to read the news and to say, it is 9 o'clock on the Voice of Soweto. My name is Penny Libiane, and I'm bringing you the latest news. I would run from the Voice of Soweto building in Fox Street through Commissioner Street, over Commissioner Street, through the passage to network. It was a network news. Yes, network news, to collect the bulletin, a printed version. Ran back to the studio to read on time. So you had to time it. So if I'm reading the news at 10 o'clock, I would have to leave there at like 9:30. Walk as fast as I can, catch the news, hold my breath so that when I get on air, I'm not huffing and puffing to read the news at 9 o'clock. Because at SAPA, yes, SAPA. It was at SAPA, South African Press Association. SAPA, that was the set. That was the place we would collect the news. So I met some writers there and journalists, and some of them I got to work with them later who worked for like publications like City Press, The Mail and Guardian as well. So I also understand the ecosystem of the newsroom. I mean, later on, I got to work for City Press. So sometimes people are like, Entlek wena Penny, what have you not done? Yes, I've worked in the newsroom of a newspaper. SAPA, for example, I would interact with the writers there. So I know the difference between an editor and a sub-editor, and a journalist, and a byline and not a byline, and the editorial team and all of those things. Obviously, I also worked at City Press writing my column, The Social Butterfly. I was headhunted to actually do that by Mapule Sebanda, and then I worked at City Press at its heights, like distinctly African, when they repositioned to that with some of the best journalists in the country. When I worked there, so I wrote that article based on me doing work on radio. I would go on Studio Mix on Fridays. I would do the gig guide. Promoting clubs and club DJs. So promoters used to hustle me and call me, and they would fax me. There was no WhatsApp at the time. So they would fax me the event, and the DJs would call me and tell me where are they playing. And I would write each of their gigs or call them and say, where are you playing? All of them. Like your favorites, Glenn Lewis, Vinny Da Vinci, DJ Fresh, Christos, Oskido, Iggy Smalls, like you mentioned them. I would call them, or they would call me and say, I'm playing here. Then compile where all of them are playing, and then go on television later on and after 9 and say, this weekend, so the gig guides. So I know as well how the club culture moves. So those are some of the conversations we'll be having, how those spaces have evolved, the impact of club culture in our music, how we've evolved. I mean, recently I went to go see Louis Vega. It was the most amazing experience, seeing over 35s and over 40s, nostalgically dancing to their favorite Louis Vega, and some of the new ones, Ed Soul playing, Lerato Kganyago playing. It was just a beautiful experience, and I'm sure they're going to be doing more of those. So those are some of the things that I recently got to attend. And then, of course, Louis Vega also played at Saints on Sundays. So if you are anywhere in the world, if you come to Johannesburg, go to Saintly Sundays on Sundays, for the culture. And they have days like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They play different music, different cultural experiences. But if you want to get a sense of what's hot right now, go on a Sunday. You will see Maporisa playing there sometimes. Gabza has played sometimes there. Tyler ICU, DJ Zintle, Sinom Solo. Who else have I seen there? Calvin Momo, I've seen him there with what's the lady that's always performing with Calvin Momo again? With who? Babalwa, with Babala M. I met Babala M. Yeah, there's Babala there as well. So I've met her there as well. I mean, there's another Babalwa who you can always also check out at Babalicious on Tuesdays. Sentence Central is always happening. So I am part of like people who go to those places. The same way you'll find me at my local church on Sunday, whether it's Grace Bible Church in Soweto, whether it's a House of Destiny, in Wendywood. I sometimes used to fellowship at Assemblies of God, and so I am like an all-round kind of a girl. Yeah, and you can't fool me. I've been to Nigerian churches. I know how they roll. As much as I've been to the Methodist church, I also know how they roll, or Catholic churches. So you can't fool me on the social construct of Africa. Obviously, from a South African point of view, I can tell you here in the city of Johannesburg where you can find Congolese people, where you can find Angolan people, where you can find Nigerians, where you can find Somalis. Because I've been in this city my entire life. So if Sex in the City is like New York is a character in Sex and the City. Johannesburg is a character in my life, and I know the shenanigans of Johannesburg, the byways, the highways, the corners and all of that. So I know the brothels as much as I know the book clubs. Yeah, as you can see here on my set, there's lots of books. I love reading books. I'm a reader, like I'm an avid reader. I collect the books, and I have a dream to have like a library where I just keep books and people can just go there and read them. But it's very hard when you're moving because you keep moving and you have these books that you need to get rid of. So I've also lived in most parts of Johannesburg. When my family first arrived, we lived in the East Rand. So I know people who are in Johannesburg, the surrounds. Everybody's very touchy about where they come from. Like people from the East Rand always feel like they are undershadowed by people from the South. That's Soweto. That's not true. You also have your own thing. So people from the East Rand, stop being like, Tembisa, Kwatema is also a township. Not just Soweto. No. Like Soweto is not a township. It's a culture. And it represents all townships collectively. Obviously, we just celebrated June 16th here in South Africa, which is also the day of International Day of the African Child. It is obviously rooted in the story of the youth of 1976. So back to talking about the different regions of the city. The Gauteng government calls them regions, but not everybody understands what those regions mean. But the East Rand consists of places like Kwatema, that's the far East Rand. Then there's Vosloorus, Katlehong, Thokoza, and all of those places have history, that contributed to what making this country. Obviously, some of it is violence, some of it is the success stories. So my family first lived in the East Rand, in Katlehong. I saw Paul Ndlovu, who was a neighbor there. So don't tell me about celebrities of Soweto only. So things like that. In the height of it, Afamba Moyeni with his helicopter video and Sakani, Paul Ndlovu, would move around in Katlehong. Which boxer? There was also a boxer, famous boxer, this Kosana boxer, because my dad used to love boxing, so we'd used to look out for such people. Eden Vale as part of the East Rand, Sprayed View as part of the East Rand. A lot of people moved from Soweto to Sprayed View when Sprayed View developed, because it was like a big suburb in the East Rand. So don't underestimate it just because you don't know the East Rand. Davidton is another one. A lot of people from where my parents come from, Bushbuckridge, they would arrive in Johannesburg and stay in Davidton or Tsakani, and then people from Soweto would tease them and say, that's not Joburg. You're halfway to Mpumalanga when you arrive from Mpumalanga. So Ekurhuleni, it's a welcoming city on both sides. So people who come in from KZN, they also come through that side. When they arrive there. Then obviously there's the south, which is Soweto. People when they're coming from Bloemfontein, the Vaal, on the N1, they come through there. So I'm just giving you a scope of how Johannesburg is set up, because a lot of people get confused. It's like a little circle. It's not as bad as it is. OR Tambo is in the east. So Ekurhuleni, Davidton, and then you get on R21 on your way to Pretoria. So that's a whole other situation as well. We love people from Pretoria as well. It's the capital city of South Africa. Administrative, together with Cape Town, and Bloemfontein is the judicial. So I'm giving you history of South Africa and getting context and what shapes some of my madness and the things that I do, because I love this country with so much passion. So I told you about Ekurhuleni. Then City of Johannesburg, Soweto is part of City of Johannesburg. So the townships in the south are Soweto. So Soweto falls definitely in the south. And then when you go further, you go to the Vaal and all that side. It's not the city of Johannesburg. It is Mfuleni. It's the city of Mfuleni. That's where Sharpeville is, historical as well. Places like Sharpeville. Are we doing lips now?
Yep.
Doesn't mean I need to keep quiet.
Just for
a few minutes.
Yes.
Okay, I can talk like this. Yeah, I know how to talk like that. I've been on set for so long to talk and not move my lips. Yeah. So that's that. What else? So that's the east. The West Rand, Krugersdorp, Roodepoort falls in the West Rand. And then some of the municipalities are Mogale City. Yes, that falls in the West Rand. That's the West Rand of Johannesburg. Reimseg, Silver Star Casino, Pine Haven, all of those places. So that's when you cross into the N14. That's another major national road on the N14, takes you to Krugersdorp. Then if you drive down all the way in N14, you'll end up in Pretoria. You're going to bump into the N1, which takes you to Polokwane. So it's a little circle like this. Well, it's oval like that, but it's a circle, not like round, but like that. And then there's highways in the middle. There's the N1, the M1, the N4 goes through Ekurhule. N12 then takes you to the N4, and then you're on your way to Mpumalanga, where I come from. So don't be confused with Johannesburg. It's a nice little city. Yes, there's some people who say Johannesburg is one of those cities, unlike other big cities, it doesn't even have a river. That's why it's a concrete jungle. No, that's not true. Because you don't know the rivers in Johannesburg. There's Jaskei River. There's Braamfontein-Spruit. Do you know that Braamfontein-Spruit runs through Bryanston? It does. Bryanston is a whole other situation. It's like the north. So it's where all the North gods come from. AKA, may his soul rest in peace, Dallas. So the continent and the world knows South Africa through some of those people. AKA, and I loved the South African flag. That's why I have it on the set, because we really, really believe in the South African story. So we will be celebrating that. And obviously, if you also follow my career, you know that I got into a little bit trouble, saying that, that lighting flag that they wanted to have at Fort Trekker Monument, which was a 22 million budget, should happen, because, I was asking, how did they build the Eiffel Tower, and why is it so popular? You guys go to Paris and you take pictures with the Eiffel Tower, but you guys don't want to have a lighting flag in Pretoria. Obviously it was in the height of COVID. Everyone was emotional because it was the height of COVID, but who knows? We might have the 22 million flag at some point. Our kids need to celebrate the flag. You all know the American flag because you see it in their movies. You see it everywhere. So why don't you guys want to see our flag everywhere, even if it lights at night in Pretoria? At the Fort Trekker Monument, which is a historical venue where our heroes' names are there, and obviously it bridges between the Afrikaner people and the Africans. So not the Afrikaner ones who left, not the 49 who left to go to America. No, the ones who are here, who were in the Boer War and other things. So we basically have that place where our cultures meet, and it contextualizes the history of South Africa. What else do I have here? All right, I have pictures with Winnie Mandela on set here, and I have pictures with Jada Pinkett and Will Smith. They're my friends. They're my imaginary friends. I met them when they came here. Okay, I met them a couple of times. I met Will Smith and Jada Pinkett when they came to South Africa. Also, when they came for the launch of MTV Base, which was part of Viacom, which became Paramount now. So MTV Base owns MTV Africa, and then MTV South and MTV North. Yes, I was the first employee for MTV Africa. I'm the girl who went to record companies to collect VHS videos, or called artists and collected the VHS videos, and then checked the quality, and then put them in a courier and send them to London via DHL, so that when they upload from London and play MTV in 2005 when it launched, those music videos of quality. So don't disrespect me. I'm very important to the culture of entertainment in South Africa, especially you youngins. Just because you don't know your history, you just think, hey, Coco Penny, hey, ning kahle. But bottom line is, when it comes to entertainment and the creative industry in South Africa, I'm a little encyclopedia. If you don't know encyclopedia, it's the Google of back in the day when we didn't have Google. Your parents would have to buy those Britannia books and encyclopedia and keep it in your house. And when you needed information, you would open those books and find information. So, and I have a brain of an elephant. I remember a lot of things. You know why I remember? because I was very sober in the entertainment industry. I'll drink water in a club and coffee. I mean, recently I was trending for my conversation about alcohol and us black people. Even though some men feel like it was more geared towards women, I made reference to it about the women of 1956, because the women of 1956, when they marched to Verwoerd there in Pretoria, Lillian Goy, Betha Klowa, Ruth Mpati, Helen Suzman, like Winnie Mandela was a young generation of those women. She was actually, I think, in her 20s. The other ones were like in their 30s, some in their 40s. They marched. Some of the things that they listed, they wanted to vote. They wanted to have land. They wanted to have passes so that they can move around freely. And they wanted to not be getting permission from men all the time when they want to do things. They couldn't buy land, they couldn't buy houses, they couldn't open bank accounts. All of those things that you take for granted now in 2025. So one of the things that they also enlisted is how alcohol was impacting their families. I'm sure you saw the impassioned speech from Warren Masemola at Presley Chenia High. May his beautiful young soul rest in peace. When he spoke about the impact of alcohol in our families and our relationships, and how him and Presley, had conversations about that and some of the challenges that Presley was dealing with. Alcoholism is a serious challenge, and I was talking about how the trajectory of alcohol consumption and marketing has sort of like been positioned in the last 15 years or so in South Africa. Just when we went into the World Cup, things started happening, from political conferences. I remember the ANC conference, I think it was at Gallagher Estate. I think they were sponsored by Shiva's Regal, I think, at the time. It was very interesting to observe. And all the bourgeoisies of Joburg were bragging about drinking Rupert and Rothschild. They still do. But I mean, obviously we've evolved to other things. But those things became popular. And then ZA was at the height of it. Kenny Kunene, MMC in Johannesburg, as well as the Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture, Minister Gates McKenzie. They used to run ZA. This is the first place I saw people popping champagne. I mean, you all know that, when there were ladies lying down and sushi was on them. That's when things started shifting, and ladies wanted moe, moot. That's what the French says we must say. Moot, veuve clicquot, as well, and the ladies were popping it, and everybody was about the most expensive champagne and designer bags as well, and Diamond Walk became a thing. Boys and girls from Polokwane and Witbank, with the tenders for building stadiums and constructions on the road, were spending the money there. It's South Africa. I mean, I've been here. I was observing the stuff. So when I was talking about that alcohol, I was talking about based on how I observed as a social scientist, as a broadcaster, as a young woman who grew up in the city doing media work and understanding marketing and understanding media dynamics, because I'm a reader. Essence, Glamour, Oprah Mag, The Star newspaper, The Diary of a CEO. Why do you think I read these books? I read these books so I can understand. I actually have one there called, what is it? We Are Changing the World, Women, Mega Trends by Women. So I was talking about that. So we just think it's a trend, but a trend happens, but it just doesn't happen in osmosis, in isolation. There's marketers who are sitting and strategists who plan these things. And I was talking about that, how we were not observant or conscious of how things are sold to us. And obviously, as black women evolve and make more money and have access to opportunities, we have disposable incomes. And as we have disposable income, we are targeted. Now when they pitch car sales, they pitch them for us. They're selling them to us. Now when they pitch, alcohol, they pitch all of those things to us. You've seen the packaging, you've seen the advertising, you've seen, the influencers that are part of that. Yes, they're making money, and they should make lots of money. My girl Devin Gogo, after seeing that video, she said to me, "Penny, they're paying us. We are being paid." in triple digits. And I said, yes, girl, they must pay you. But I know that you also know the truth. I love Devon Coco. We all hanged out. I ran away from Devon Coco, and the other ladies, they wanted us to go to Louis at 2 a.m. I mean, I do go out with young people. That's one of the reasons I'm the way I am. I'm not an ageist. I don't believe in that whole thing of like, oh, Penny, you're so old, don't go here. Oh, please. Culture is culture. And my favorite line is, Jay-Z is 55. So what? You all like him. When he raps, you enjoy it. So why are you, J-Lo is also 55. Russell Simmons, Spike Lee. Where do you think all those people come from? And they're still part of the culture in America. Why are you guys being ageist here? You want to pretend that you are conservatives? No, you're not. You do the weirdest things as South Africans and Africans. So I've partied in Nigeria, Zimbabwe, Botswana, Swaziland, Mozambique, Bali. Okay, I'm not a fan of Dubai, but I have friends there who party there all the time. Things like that. So we are all part of a global conversation. The things that other people are doing, we also do. So, but we just need to be conscious and aware of how those things shape who we are and who we become as a people. So we shouldn't be stuck, in our ways and being unconscious. Yes, enjoy the finer things in life, but there's a country that needs to be built. There is children that need to be protected. There's women who need to stand up for themselves. There's men who need to love themselves more and do the work and build the communities that we want to see, because we are made of stellar stuff as South Africans. So this podcast is about that and so much more. And yes, my children are of Zimbabwean heritage. Whether you call me the K word or the J word, kwere kwere, jolofina, those things mean nothing. We are Pan-Africanists. We're part of a continent. We are on the southern tip of the continent, and we are part of the culture that shapes and makes South Africa. I look up to people like Yuma Sekela, Miriam Makeba, Yvonne Chaka Chaka, Nelson Mandela, Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, the impact that they've made on the continent. And I believe that we can individually be able to do that if we just apply ourselves. That's it. See you on the next episode. Subscribe, Penny On, right here on YouTube, and follow me on all my social media platforms. It's Penny Lebyane, Lebyane, Penny On, Penny, capital O, double N, just for emphasis.